might notice that it's different to the ones in Matthew, and Luke, and John. It's much shorter, and it ends with the women going away in terror and amazement. So there's no appearances of Jesus. He's going before them in Galilee in the rest of their life. So why were they terrified and amazed, do you think? So I was listening to an amazing story on public radio yesterday. It's a story about a whale that got entangled in a bunch of lines and nets where there were crab pots. And the whale was really stuck. It was a huge whale and it was stuck. And there were 5 divers spending hours trying to free the whale. Cutting here and cutting there. And the whale was looking at them. Big eye. Close up. And they wondered if they were going to succeed. And eventually, suddenly, they did. All the lines fell away, and the whale was free, and the whale disappeared. Look, where was the whale? It was gone. Then one of the divers saw the whale swimming at him from the bottom of the ocean at a very rapid pace. Right at him. And he thought, this is going to be painful. The whale stopped about 6 inches away, and then nudged him. He backed off and nudged him. Did that 3 times. And he swam off, and he did the same exact behavior to the other 4 divers. So, this is pretty amazing to me. Right? What's this whale doing? What do you think the whale is doing? Saying thank you, seems to me. So they had an animal psychologist on the program explaining why it was very unlikely that this whale would be saying thank you. And he said, well, you know, I don't speak whales, but, and then he went on, it seemed to me, he didn't speak gratitude. This is why it's hard for us to get the resurrection. It's because if we were to believe that death is not really the end of everything, if it is in fact love and gratitude, which is the basic reality, and not death, our whole life would have to be different. Like the animal psychologist. If he got that whales were capable of relationship and gratitude, the whole way he studied them would have to change. Everything would change. And so it is with the resurrection. Jesus came into the world, drawing people into a sense of love and possibility and presence and community. It turned everything upside down. People experienced a new way of life. Then, this was inconvenient for those in charge of things. So they arrested him, they beat him, and they killed him. Life as usual, right? Love isn't actually the basis of everything. It doesn't work. And yet, the woman went to bury him, and he's not there. The grave could not contain him. It's not here, the angel said. He's in Galilee. That's where everything started. Go back to your life. You will find the risen Christ there in what happens to you. Now, it's helpful to me that Mark ends with terror and amazement. Because, in fact, resurrection is a process. You know, death is a major blow. Somebody you love dies. Life doesn't simply go back to what it was. In fact, it never does. Grieving takes months and years. But if we camp out at the tomb, life never changes. We stay stuck in death. If we throw ourselves on the love of God and the love of neighbor and the love of friends, then we discover love continuing to meet us as we go about our day-by-day life. And that's what we're doing here this Easter day, to hear the story, to by our presence give us courage to believe it, not in our heads but in our hearts, so that we actually live as though love were real. Not just love of family, but love of the whole human race. And it isn't just that it's nice to do this, it's essential. If people didn't live as though our love and connection with everybody was real, we would all die. If there were not medical workers willing to go to Liberia to take care of Ebola patients, risking their lives to do that. They don't know these folks, but it seems important to do it to them. If there weren't some folks who did that, we would have a worldwide epidemic of Ebola. We'd probably all be dead by now. The universe is built so that love is what makes it work. And we're here to remind ourselves of that, and then to begin to act on it. And as we act on it, it becomes real for us. The reading from Good Friday, where we really enter into what it was like for Jesus to keep loving through his arrest, through his death, his ability to keep loving. There's a reading from Hebrews where it talks about gather together, you followers of Jesus, and provoke one another to love and good deeds. It's an unusual meaning of the word provoke. Usually we provoke each other to anger and hostility, like siblings. There were a couple of siblings there on Friday and said, you know, you provoke each other to anger and hostility, and they looked at each other. And 8 years ago, they were so good at provoking each other to anger and hostility. It happened faster than the eye could see. I don't know if you guys do that. You provoke each other, push each other buttons, pretty soon you're all mad at each other. What God is doing in Jesus is provoking us to love. Provoke is to open up, to draw out from us a sense of love. And when we do that, amazing and miraculous things happen. Especially for us at St. Mark's, we've been experiencing that with the pumpkin patch. Gathering ourselves together, encouraging one another to sell thousands of pumpkins, raise thousands of dollars for the homeless shelter, for the food pantry. More than we imagine happened. And there was a group of homeless folk at the cathedral who learned to do the same kind of thing we did in Pumpkin Patch at the same time. And what they did was give space blankets to the other homeless folks in Boston. Little square packet in your pocket that you unfold it and wrap it around you at night and you stay warm. So their goal was to raise 100 blankets. They raised 8,000 blankets and distributed them. I got an email a couple of days ago from folks in Chile where space blankets have been appearing there and being distributed to homeless folks in Santiago and to the jails there, where the prisoners and the guards are staying warm. As we begin to provoke each other to love, the resurrection spreads. And the church is the group of people entrusted with that mission, to know God's love and to make it known. probably going to be the most important institution in the 21st century. We're going to have to reinvent how to do church. Because that message of resurrected love, being how the world works, is the essential message for us to know so that we can continue to live with one another on this planet. So, keep gathering together. Those of you who are at St. Mark's, keep coming here. Those of you who are visiting from elsewhere, find a place if you haven't already. Provoke one another to love and good deeds. And those of you who are here at St. Mark's, we have a special opportunity for you to take the next step if you don't have one already planned. And Kimberly, who's organizing the pumpkin patch, will have information for you after the service. Where are you?
I handed it out.
You handed it out already? All right. So Kimberly, as usual, is ahead of me. So you have the provocation, that which is leading you forth into sharing the good news of the resurrection in your hands. Pray on it. See what God is calling you to do. So this good news conjures up terror and amazement. Can it really be true? And yet, it conjures up joy and gratitude and excitement and a whole new way of living. I wish you all a blessed evening.